You wake up with 17 priorities. By noon, you've made progress on none of them. This isn't a time management problem. It isn't a productivity problem. It's a fragmentation problem, and it's destroying you in ways you haven't named yet. Your mind moves like a spotlight scanning a dark room. It touches everything, illuminates nothing. You start the morning intending to write, but check your phone. You sit down to work, but remember an email. You begin a conversation, but your thoughts drift to the next task. Each moment feels like motion, but nothing accumulates. Nothing builds. You believe the problem was efficiency. You bought the apps, read the books, color-coded the calendar. You told yourself if you could just organize the chaos, you'd gain control. But organization isn't the issue. The issue is that you've trained your brain to operate in a state of permanent interruption, and every system you build reinforces that pattern. Your attention has become a currency you spend without tracking. You give it to notifications, to spiraling thoughts, to imagined conversations, to tasks that don't matter. And like any resource spent carelessly, it depletes. By evening, you feel exhausted despite accomplishing nothing of substance. You collapse into distraction, scroll through content you won't remember, and tell yourself tomorrow will be different. It won't be. Not unless you understand what focus actually is. Focus isn't concentration. Concentration is what you do when you force yourself to ignore distractions. Focus is what happens when distractions cease to exist. Concentration requires effort. Focus requires elimination. The scattered mind doesn't lack discipline. It lacks singularity. You're trying to hold too many threads, and the human brain wasn't built for that. Our ancestors survived by doing one thing well in the moment it mattered. Hunt this animal, avoid that predator, find water, build shelter. The modern demand to maintain 17 simultaneous priorities is neurologically absurd, and your brain responds the only way it can. It fragments. This fragmentation has a cost you don't see until it's already extracted. You lose the ability to think deeply about anything. Your thoughts become shallow, reactive, transactional. You stop creating and start consuming. You stop building and start maintaining. You mistake motion for progress, busyness for importance, and exhaustion for effort. This is the first principle. One focus creates one mind. Multiple focuses create multiple minds, and a divided mind accomplishes nothing. The solution isn't better multitasking. Multitasking is a lie sold to people who confuse activity with output. The solution is singular obsession applied sequentially. You choose one thing, you eliminate everything else, and you stay there until completion or until the designated time ends. Then you move to the next thing with the same singular commitment. You will resist this. Your brain will tell you that staying with one thing is inefficient, that you're wasting time, that you should be handling the other 17 priorities. Good. That resistance is the fragmentation trying to preserve itself. It's the scattered mind defending its territory. Let it protest, then ignore it. This is what monks understood when they designed monastery schedules. Not flexibility, not balance. Singular focus rotated through time. From 4 in the morning until 5, prayer. From 5 until 6, work. From 6 until 7, study. Each block contains one activity, one intention, one object of attention. The mind isn't managing, it's inhabiting. And in that inhabitation, fragmentation dissolves. Your life doesn't need more organization. It needs more ruthlessness. You must look at your 17 priorities and destroy 14 of them. Not delegate them, not postpone them. Destroy them. Because if something matters, it deserves your full attention. If it doesn't deserve your full attention, it doesn't matter. This is the second principle. What doesn't deserve singular focus doesn't deserve to exist on your list. You've been treating your attention like an infinite resource. It isn't. Attention is the most finite thing you possess. More finite than time, because time passes whether you use it or not. But attention degrades with every division. Every time you split your focus, you reduce the quality of thought available to both targets. You become worse at everything simultaneously. The neuroscience here is simple. Your prefrontal cortex, The part of your brain responsible for complex thought can hold approximately 4 items in working memory at once. When you exceed that, the brain starts dropping information. It doesn't tell you what it drops. It just drops it. So you miss details, forget commitments, lose track of context. And you blame yourself for being scatterbrained when the real problem is that you're operating a system beyond its designed capacity. The primitive brain doesn't care about your 17 priorities. It cares about survival. And survival, for most of human history, meant doing one thing completely. So when you ask your brain to manage 17 things, it interprets that as a crisis. It floods you with cortisol. It triggers the fight or flight response. It makes you feel anxious, overwhelmed, and incapable. Not because you are incapable, but because you're asking it to do something it categorizes as life-threatening chaos. This is the third principle. The scattered mind is a stressed mind, and the stressed mind cannot build anything permanent. Now eliminate the negotiation. You don't decide each morning what deserves focus. You decided once, weeks ago, and you follow that decision religiously. Monks don't wake up and wonder if today they feel like praying. The bell rings at 4. They pray. The decision was made centuries before they arrived. They inherit the structure, and the structure eliminates the question. You need the same elimination. Choose your singular focus for each time block before the day begins. Write it down. Make it non-negotiable. When the block starts, you don't evaluate, you don't reconsider, you don't adjust. You execute. The moment you reintroduce choice, you reintroduce fragmentation. This will feel uncomfortable, especially in the first 14 days. Your brain will generate emergencies. It will convince you that something else is more urgent. It will produce anxiety about the things you're ignoring. Good. That discomfort is the fragmentation dying. It's the old pattern recognizing it's being replaced. Let it thrash, then let it die. This is the fourth principle. Discomfort during focus means you're operating at the correct level of singularity. People will call you rigid. They'll say you're missing opportunities, that you need to be flexible, that real life doesn't work in blocks. Let them. Their lives are scattered, their minds are fractured, their outputs are mediocre. You're not building a life like theirs. You're building a life where things actually accumulate. Every hour you spend in singular focus builds something. Every hour you spend fragmented maintains nothing. This is why your projects never finish. This is why your goals reset every January. This is why you feel like you're running but never arriving. You're not consolidating effort. You're dispersing it. Consider the craftsman who spends 3 hours carving one section of wood. He doesn't check his phone. He doesn't plan tomorrow's tasks. He doesn't think about the other pieces. He carves this piece completely until it's finished. Then he moves to the next piece with the same totality. In 6 months, he has a complete sculpture. The person who carves for 10 minutes, checks email, carves for 5 minutes, answers a text, carves for 3 minutes, plans their weekend, has nothing. Just scratches on wood. You are currently scratching wood. You're applying partial effort to total goals and wondering why nothing manifests. This is the fifth principle. Depth requires duration, and duration requires the elimination of everything else. Now structure your environment to enforce this. Remove the phone from the room. Close the programs you're not using. Face a wall if necessary. Your environment should make distraction difficult and focus easy. Most people do the opposite. They sit in rooms full of triggers surrounded by notifications, one click away from infinite distraction, and wonder why their focus breaks. The monks understood environmental design. The meditation hall contains one thing: a cushion. Not a cushion and a bookshelf. Not a cushion and a window with a view. A cushion. The architecture enforces singularity. Your workspace should do the same. You'll say you can't control your environment, that you work in an office, that you have responsibilities. Then control what you can. Headphones that signal unavailability. A specific chair that means focus. A time block that others learn not to interrupt. Make the singularity visible, and others will begin to respect it. This is the sixth principle. Environmental simplicity creates mental singularity. The transformation happens slowly, then suddenly. For approximately 3 weeks, this will feel like constraint, like you're missing things, like you're falling behind. You aren't. You're consolidating. You're learning to inhabit attention instead of fracturing it. And somewhere around week 4, you'll notice something. Tasks that used to take hours now take minutes. Not because you're working faster, but because you're working completely. No part of your mind is elsewhere. No processing power is wasted on maintenance. Everything you have is directed at the thing in front of you. This is what one focus creates. Not multitasking mastery, not balanced productivity, overwhelming competence in singular moments rotated through time. Your 17 priorities were never real. They were distractions disguised as importance. They were ways to avoid committing fully to anything, because full commitment reveals whether you're capable. And you were afraid of that revelation. So you stayed scattered. You stayed safe in motion without progress. But scattered doesn't build. Scattered maintains, and you didn't come this far to maintain. Others will notice the change before you articulate it. They'll see you finish things. They'll watch you remain present in conversations. They'll observe that you no longer seem frantic, reactive, overwhelmed. They'll ask how you manage everything. You don't manage everything. You eliminated everything that doesn't deserve singular focus, and you gave what remains your complete attention. When your discipline makes others uncomfortable, you're operating at the correct level. When people call you obsessive, rigid, too focused, you've successfully escaped the scattered trap they still inhabit. This is the 7th principle. The focused life will always look extreme to the fragmented mind. Now decide. Decide which 3 things deserve your singular attention. Write them down. Destroy everything else. Assign each one a time block. Make those blocks non-negotiable. Remove every trigger that breaks focus. And when your mind protests, when it generates false urgencies, when it tries to pull you back into fragmentation, recognize that protest as the death rattle of the pattern that's been destroying you. One focus, one mind. One thing built completely before the next begins. The question no longer exists. Choose which person you will be. You will.